How's it going, everybody? I've got a little bit of a different video today for my long-term subscribers. If there's anybody kicking around that remember the initial videos that I posted on this channel were of some compressed air cannons that I built years ago that shot Nerf Vortex footballs. And I've uploaded, every now and then I upload some precision sports videos. That's what YouTube labels these as. So you probably know that I do a bit of marksmanship stuff. I'm trying to avoid certain words, so this video actually gets a little bit of distribution. But anyways, this video it's just a chat video, alright? I'm going to try and keep it short, try not to ramble too much. But this is mainly for my US viewers. And let's get right to the point. Most of us know that this stuff is kind of in short supply, and I do not want to get into the politics of this and the non-recreational portion of uses of this stuff. Okay, that's not the point of this video. That's certainly got its place, but not today. Not what we're talking about. So, if you did not invest in these things, and you don't have a way of making these, then, or even if you do, and you're saving that stuff for hunting or whatever, yeah, what do? Springtime's coming up. Myself personally, this is one of my favorite times to get out and, do marksmanship stuff. It's just nice to get out and go do that stuff. The place that I usually get my stuff from, their shelves have been barren for a long time, and they've actually, they don't even pretend anymore. They're just stocking different stuff on those shelves. But you can still get this stuff. Alright, so there you go. That's the topic of the video. We're going to talk about air rifles. What? You ain't a Red Ryder BB gun? Alright, most people, this is what they think of, or something similar to this. Now this thing is quite a bit older than I am, and the piston head's been replaced with stacked leather off a boot by my dad. But this thing actually works, and I can actually get replacement parts, which I'm going to order. This is a 22 caliber, by the way, and it's just the old pumper, and it does work. So, ooh, shouldn't have put that in the beginning of the video. But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. That's what most people think of when you talk about, air rifles. They think of BB guns and the old Pumpmaster 760 that they used to shoot in the backyard and stuff like that. What I want to talk about is stuff that people that enjoy powder burners would probably be more interested in. And that is today's modern day air guns or air rifles. Alright, something more in lines with this. Now, this is my Force Talon Ss. I bought this about 8 years ago, and it has this is a 25 caliber. It's got a 12-inch barrel with an overshroud. And this thing packs a wallop. I've actually taken out some small vermin and some medium-sized vermin with this thing. And at shorter ranges, it's got some knockdown. This has been a pretty good air gun. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. So, for me, air guns kind of represent a mixture of archery and long-range precision, like reloading and target practice. And I find it, the longer I've been into it, the more I'm kind of leaning more towards it, because I just enjoy it. I enjoy that mix. I like the quietness and the calmness of archery, but I enjoy the tinkering and just the form factor of a rifle. I just always have. It's just the way it is. And growing up, I shot a lot of archery. In fact, I did some competition shoots and stuff like that, and I did a lot of shooting rifles too, but mainly archery. We shot a lot of archery. We went to a lot of 3D shoots and stuff like that. But anyways, now I find myself kind of drawing more towards the air rifle stuff. And I'll tell you why. It's kind of a weird deal, though, in the U.S. I've actually had some people say some really negative things when I tell them I shoot an air rifle that are shooters. You know, they're big into going to the range and shooting all their different stuff. And you tell them you got an air rifle, and they're going, BB gun, or and you're like, no, you know, you can hunt with them. They're you know, the nice thing about these are that you only need one component to reload. You need this and a way to put air in this, and you can definitely get a pump or a brake barrel or any of the other types out there. But once you get a pre-charged pneumatic, a PCP, you kind of, I was told once you go with a PCP, you kind of quit messing with the other stuff, and I found that to be true myself. I still have a couple of pump guns because they're nice to throw in a backpack and just take with you, but this is where it's at. They're very easy, very efficient. They work very well and they're very consistent, very accurate. So, in general, though, I don't want to delve too much. We're talking about the M as it pertains to the situation we're in right now. You don't need primers, you don't need casings, you don't need powder, all you need is pellets. So you still are relying on being able to get pellets. But you don't need all the other stuff. And because of the lack of use of these in certain non-recreational uses, generally speaking, these don't get snatched up in large quantities like the powder stuff. All right, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that. But it is getting more popular, but nowhere near as much as you think it would. The pros that I've found with shooting air rifles is they're extremely accurate at the closer ranges that they're generally effective to. They are safer to shoot in smaller areas just because this does not have the power of 257 Roberts, 25 caliber, or whatever. So you don't have to worry about the pass-through or ricochet or not having as good a backstop and worrying about this thing going 1,000 yards past your target. It just won't do it. So for smaller pieces of property where you would probably not want to be out there shooting a powder burner, be a great place to take something like this, as long as it's safe and it's legal. There's more opportunity to use these in areas where you would never consider using a standard firearm. So they're easier to reload. You need a way to get compressed air in here. I use a hand pump, and you need pellets. That's it. You don't need hundreds of dollars worth of reloading equipment and that knowledge base that goes along with that. And I really enjoy reloading. As long as I can, I won't give it up. And if you're into hunting, they're definitely usable for that. You can get any caliber, pretty much most of the main larger calibers from 17 all the way up to 50 or I think 70, any caliber you want, whatever caliber you want. And a lot of states are actually allowing people to hunt with, not a lot, there's several states that are allowing big game hunting with these too, in the appropriate calibers, of course. And it's very accessible. People that maybe are a bit gun shy will probably be okay with something like this because they're very quiet and they're not very intimidating, so, especially because of the lower recoil and the lower noise level that there is. So some of the cons, definitely is shorter range if you're used to shooting long range stuff. Like for me, 500, 600, 700 yards is fun. 100 yards with this is reaching out. Short barreled, windy days, forget it. It's all over the place. There are advances coming, or that are out there now, slugs and slug barrels that are definitely more. Anyways, I don't want to get into that, but you can definitely push past that. A couple 100 yards is doable. These are more affected by wind. So on a calm day, you might be able to shoot 100 yards, but on a windy day, the pellets just get blown all over the place. So that's a con. And I live in an area where it's very windy quite often, so I have to work with that. The buy-in price can be pretty steep depending on what you want. There are some budget entry-level stuff. You kind of got to weigh it. You don't want to get too cheap and then have a really bad experience because, like, I've had this 8 years. I've had zero issues. I have had no issues with this thing. I put air in it, and I use it. And that's, other than this cheap junk scope I've got on here, it's temporary. This thing I've had zero issues with it. Then again, I've got some other cheaper ones that have been not the greatest. But even if you go with a major name brand, you'll be okay. Even the pump guns, the Crosman 1377, and like this old dude here. And like I said, you can still get parts for this. So if you go with a name brand, you're more than likely you're gonna be okay. Accessories, you can spend a lot of money on accessories. And one of the accessories that's going to cost you a lot of money is, if you go, especially with the pre-charged pneumatic, is going to be the pump. So you can get an electric pump, or you can get a hand pump. And you might want a buddy bottle. You can look into all that stuff. But one thing you don't want to cheap out on is the pump. I've seen some really, really cheap ones, and you don't want that thing to fail, because like these guns operate at 3,000 psi and up. So you want 30, 35 shots out of here, you got to put 30, 35 shots in here. So hand pump looks like this, just looks like a bicycle pump. It's not a bicycle pump. I had somebody in one of the videos, I think the unboxing video for that, call it a bicycle pump. It's not a bicycle pump. So unfortunately, you do have to pack this around with you. You just leave it in the truck, go for a hike, come back, pump it up. That thing right there, though, with that big bottle on there, I get, I don't know, somewhere between 30 and 35, 40 shots, full power shots, before I need to pump it back up. That's more than enough to go out for a day wood walking. And like I said, there's other options. You can carry a big tank up to like a scuba tank size and top it off that way. Or you can get an old pump gun and just pump it up in between every shot. Or you can get a spring or break action. The important thing is that there are options out there than paying, not paying $20 for a 100 pack of this stuff. It's just ridiculous. So consider the options out there. These guys have kind of a high buy-in, but there are some lower end budget stuff out there. Just be careful you don't get too cheap with a brand that's not going to be around in 5 years. The time I bought this, 2 or 3 of the brands that I was looking at for budget options, they aren't around anymore, so you can't get parts. There's no, all that stuff. This is a pretty well-known brand. There's quite a few other brands out there that are more than well, and generally speaking, they're only a couple $100 more than the super cheap, mass-produced, imported stuff. So if you are going to go this route, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be, but you're going to get what you pay for. All right, anyways, all right, this video is going over. I just want to get this information out there, because there's still a lot of people out there, I think, that just don't have any idea. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the video, so I'll mention it now. Just check out the Lewis & Clark Expedition airgun. It's been around for a long time, and like my state is very slow to adopt this, and they're always they're sending out these letters asking us for, hey, what can we do to increase participation? And every year it's like, hey, you want to get people involved, here is a very accessible way to get people involved, especially in the other side of my state, which is very anti-powderburnery. They don't have as much room and as much space. It would make perfect sense for them to allow these. They're quiet, they're not intrusive to an area where you can have ranges, and there you go, whatever. In any case, it's something to consider. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy it. There's something very satisfying, especially I have these little guys, little plates, got some little pigs. I just cut these out with my acetylene torch. Got a little pig, got a little ram, and I've got about a dozen of those. And I take those out and just set them up different ranges, and it's a blast. Literally, it's a blast. And these things shoot at a speed to where just out of your mind's eye you can see the pellet. Cling! So, it's a lot of fun. Alright, comments down below what your guys' experiences are. If you're into it, if you own it, if you'd ever consider it as even just a step in for this, if you'd consider hunting with them. Alright, I've yapped on long enough, and I'll see you in the next one.